I remember you always asked really good questions. That's something I aspire to do. I've been told I ask really good questions. I have really good conversations. I have depth to the words that I say, and I don't take that lightly. I appreciate that when people tell me that, because we live in a world that's very superficial. We live in a world that's, a lot of people are just living life for the purpose of living life. There's no substance to why they're on this planet. There's no substance to why they're here. They don't think about things like that. They don't have those kinds of conversations. And I want to have those conversations as often as possible, because the more people hear a conversation more about why are you here instead of what am I going to do next? They're, forget all that, you know? So.
Well, it's interesting you say, like, you've always thought I ask good questions. There's this quote, I can't remember who it's from, but they say the quality of your life is measured by the questions that you ask others. So if you feel like your life is boring or dull, like, what kind of questions are you asking the people around you? You know? So that's always kind of in the back of my mind.
So that's why your life is so exciting.
It is like a movie. That is for sure. I was in a horror movie this past year, and I'm waiting for it to come out.
Oh, wow.
I keep telling people I was, but it's still in editing, so hopefully I'll have the proof soon enough, you know? Cool. I die twice.
Oh, wow.
And I actually, like, get decapitated, and, like, it's just crazy. Yeah. You know my energy and me. I don't even watch horror, but it... opportunity aligned, and that's there funny. We were. Yeah.
You're like excited to show up decapitated on the TV.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like my movie making skills. That's yeah, cool. You know, there's like a lot of really cool shows right now, I think, on like these streaming services. One of them I really love is Euphoria.
And I've heard it's good. I haven't seen it.
It's good. It's just so raw. It's real. It's a little raunchy, but because it captures life, being in high school, partying, drinking, being promiscuous, understanding what it is to be human, essentially, with a lot of darker, I would say, influences, but something I could so resonate with. I mean, my past is very dark, so definitely not here today because I didn't struggle or be challenged, for sure. But I'm not a woman who I would say, like, I define myself as one thing. There's another quote I love, like, I don't like to identify as a noun. I really like to identify as a verb. So, like, I'm not an actor. I'm not a retreat host. I host retreats. I act, or, like, am acting. I write. I'm writing. But it's never, like, going to be the end goal or end thing that I'm end up doing. Like, there's just so much to explore in this life. I think the one thing we're sold that is total bullshit is that you have to pick one thing and like stay in your lane and do it for as long as you can to be a master of it. Like, what is to be a master? Who is, like, especially in your craft, you know what I mean? When you feel so on fire in alignment with something, there's always something more to learn. To what point do you say, okay, I've learned enough, it's time to teach? You know? So with the acting, actually, what was beautiful about that experience is, well, number one, I had no previous acting experience, right? Just total rogue. I didn't even remember my lines beforehand. Like, the director's actually a friend of mine, which is how I got the role. And she would tell me, like, it's your turn. But I have a photographic memory. So this is kind of where, like, just natural gifts. So I'd look at it 1-2 seconds, boom, ready for roll. Well, all my other, like, co-cast or, like, other people filming, they're like, how does this sound? I'm like, girl, just fucking do it. Just go for it. Just say it like you mean it. You don't need to overthink it. Like, the more you overthink it, the faker it feels, you know, right? And so with being put on the spot to just have to show up, kind of like this, where you're like, Mel, there's no prep. You're not going to know what we're talking about. It's organic. I'm like, okay, I actually thrive in those situations because there's nothing for me to overthink. And with the work that I do with Return to Human, I'm going to stop swiveling. I realized I did it for a second. I recognize, like, wow, I need to put more people on the spot. Like, even in the container that we met, one of the most liberating and eye-opening parts of the experience, journey, kind of a little bit of both, right? Especially in part 2, which you know what I'm talking about, was the acting. essentially. You know, let's say it was self-expression, but to a point we had to channel something we weren't really typically doing. Wow, what an experience that really shifted the work or the way I would work and show up. So like with this last experience I hosted, it was so dope to see how putting people on the spot to show up and to self-express and tell the story of their lives, because there was like a very specific theme for us. As you know, there was kind of like a theme or like a character type of dialogue we had to follow. For them, it was more like, okay, you're going to tell me the story of your past, you're going to pick a song, and you're going to pick a costume that identifies, but no words, and you're going to tell me the story of your future and where you want to go. And just seeing how the woman just leaned so deeply into that, I've never done anything more important in my life than that like 2-hour experience. I mean, I was bawling, crying. I got to see people I've known for like 4 or 5, even 7 years, a whole new layer of them. And like, I get chills just thinking about it because it was so deep and profound. And I was like, wow, more people need to be put on the spot. Like planning, I think, is important, but I think you really get to know yourself at a whole new level when you have no ability but to trust the resourcefulness that comes from within you, you know? So I know I went on a tangent there, but yeah, I think for people, like, I don't see anything as just like a one-time thing. I feel like everything's interconnected. Like, I may not understand why something's happening, but I know something later is gonna reveal itself to illuminate that part that really was kind of cloudy or didn't really make any sense, you know? Yeah, gratitude changed my life.
Ditto,
Yeah.
bro. That place. So I had an ego the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex before I went to that place. I don't answer to anybody. All those kinds of conversations, and I realized a man who doesn't answer to anybody is a train wreck waiting to happen. When you answer to something or someone, when you respect something or someone, when you feel accountable to something or someone, you have a check and a balance. And there's a certain source, whatever that may be. Some people it's God, some people it's their mother, their father. You answer to something. And when you feel like you have to answer to something, there's lines you won't cross. You have rules, you have principles, you have ethics, you have morals. When you feel like you don't have to answer to anybody, what's to stop you from being immoral, being unethical, having no principles, not keeping your word, right? So I learned that in gratitude, that it's not bad to answer to something. It doesn't have to be a person if you don't want it to be. It can be, it can be God, it can be a significant other, it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be an idea. It could just be a rule. It could be, some esoteric thing, some principle you just refuse to violate. When you answer to something and you believe that this is sacred, this thing I answer to is sacred, that's what makes a human being really, really respectable, honorable, and a lot of other really good traits. I learned that in gratitude. I put my ego in check all the time now, all the time, and I don't hesitate to do it. I tell myself, when I'm about to go crazy on someone, for example, at work, sometimes I think someone's incompetent because they did something wrong. When I'm about to have that class, like, oh my God, what an idiot. I tell myself, why is he an idiot? I ask myself, why am I calling him an idiot? Am I not an idiot when it comes to technology or, makeup or something that I have no clue how it works, right? Am I not an idiot when I try to fix a car?
Yeah.
So maybe this person just doesn't know how to fix this car, And my ego just comes back to reality. I'm like, all right, I understand now.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Because that could reframe your whole day, whole week,
Oh, yeah.
a whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Gratitude was really good. I told you I had Millie and Michael on, and it was a humbling experience. I've carried a lot forward, and especially the context of being right. I stop myself from that needing to be right all the time, which is also connects back to the ego. I ask myself when I feel myself really trying to prove a point. I ask myself, am I trying to prove a point because it's the right way to go, or am I trying to prove a point because I need to prove I'm right? And when I don't need to prove I'm right anymore, I immediately let it go. Just, You know, like it says, be like water, right?
It dissolves. Yeah.
Just like water, just flow, let it ride.
Yeah, it's true.
All this from a book about Scarface, huh? Yeah, it's so I was gonna tell you. So this is what this represents. So you have the yin and the yang, black and white, right? So I dress the opposite. In Tony Montana, he has a white suit with a black shirt. I wear a black suit with a white shirt. And this represents the good and the bad of life, right? And the red is what stands out.
Yeah.
From the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So it's really metaphorical. It's me. It's me.
Yeah, and red has like a very abrupt psychological effect on the body. So like, I have to do a little bit of marketing and design work for everything that I do. And I love color, and it speaks to people so deeply. And it's crazy, but like a lot of people think like brands like Apple, Nike, Target, like they use these things kind of like just casually, like these random logos or colors, but they're so very intentional. And red, like a stop sign, it gets somebody to like, it kind of like shocks the nervous system a little bit to be like, you need to kind of like be aware or a little bit more present. So seeing the reds and the black and the white, I love it. I think it speaks of your intensity, because you don't need a lot, like the words, or don't take up the whole thing, but you can feel the intensity through it, Yeah, like that.